you got it. You've been warned, and you've reached a dead end.
This is the 9-foot Gaslight Ghoul, built from techies and sold at Lowe's. It looks amazing in the photos, but is it actually one of the coolest Halloween animatronics of 2026? Today I'm unboxing it, timing the assembly, testing every effect, and seeing whether I can get it to fit back inside of the box without needing an exorcism. And because my HOA is not emotionally prepared for Halloween in July, we're doing all of this indoors. I put a link to this product in the description below, but if you go to that page, you might see that it's currently listed as unavailable. But availability can change, and viewers should check the link for its present status. Let's start by opening up the box so we can see what is inside. While the box is pretty big for a 9-foot standing prop, it is compact enough to put away easily for storage, assuming that after we build this, we're able to fit everything back inside of the box. My biggest challenge will be to remember exactly how this thing is packaged. That way, putting it together won't be as much of a hassle as sometimes putting animatronics away can be. So here are our tools and directions, and this is just an empty box. I hope this is not missing something. I hope that's just to take up some space. But here's how it looks when you first open the box. Let's take everything out of the box one at a time and see exactly what we get. So there's our empty box. Not too exciting there. Another box just for stuffing. Ooh, this one actually has something in it. I think this might be the motor. Left arm pull with control box and 9.5 volt and 3A DC adapter. In order to remove this part, you do need to cut open the bottom of the box. And there is our motor and our sound box. This is a package of spikes, so you can stake this thing into the ground so that it doesn't blow over in high wind. We won't be using this one today indoors. Next up is the lamp post itself. And because of the color, even when this isn't lit up, it looks like it's got a little bit of a glow to it. This package is our additional lamp post pieces. It's definitely packaged very well with a lot of bubble wrap padding and extra pieces of cardboard to hold everything from shaking during shipping. I am surprised to find out that the lamppost pole is actually metal. Like, this is a solid, heavy piece of metal, which is good because it's going to add to the weight when you display this to prevent blowover. Here's our first spooky looking prop. This is the hand. And that's got a lot of really good detail to the paint job. I think that looks creepy and awesome. Here's our other hand, and it is permanently attached to this part of the light post. Also a really nice paint job. Here is the motor, which I think moves the arm. I don't know if this is to protect this while it's packaged or if this is to add some shape to the body of the ghoul. And now the ghoul itself. And that is a super cool looking skeleton. You can see the little LED lights. There's the whole body of the ghoul. Very cool and creepy. And it does have plastic inside to give the shoulders shape. And finally, we have the base that's going to support this entire thing. Now, this looks really lightweight and looks like it would easily blow away. That's because the base has an underskeleton with a sandbag already attached. Now, of course, you got to untwist all these. This little pin is just sitting in here freely. I have no idea what that's for, but hopefully we're going to figure it out. And there's our base with the sandbag, which is definitely pretty heavy. Next, I'm going to set up a timer and we're going to see how fast we can put this thing together. Because of the way that this was packaged, I do think that we'll be able to get everything back into the box. That being said, I don't think that I'm going to remember how to reuse all this packaging. So what I'm going to probably do is put them in piece by piece and just use this stuff to put some extra padding in between each piece. Here's a look at all the parts once they've been removed from the packaging. And here's a close-up look at our control box. During the building process, we're going to be using this tool to help us out. This is for the flat poles. You can see this part is completely flat, but it has a little nub right here to help you push the buttons in. And for the rounded poles, this one is rounded and allows you to press that little tab into the button to get the poles to click together or to be separated. So that you can see exactly how long it takes me to put this together, I have a little timer right here. I'm going to speed up some of these sections so I don't have a super long video for you. But if I come to any problems or tips or tricks, I will stop the fast forward process and explain. So let's get started now. I'm gonna read the first direction and then get started. So insert the lower lamp pole into the metal base, parts AA and then BB. All right, let's get started. Here we go. We're gonna use the stopwatch instead. Here we go. Starting now. All right, so I don't need this part yet. So we'll put that aside. I'm gonna put this in the center. I'm gonna start building this on this table. Eventually I might have to set it onto the ground, but this will be easier for you to see and easier for me to get to so I don't have to bend over too much. So here's part A, just two thick solid metal pipes screwed in together. And that seems easy enough. That's step one. Step two is to do that with the B. So these are easily or brightly labeled. That's got a B, that's got a C. Ideally, where those are labeled are going to end up on the back side so that nobody can see them, because I actually don't want to remove those, because next season it'll be a lot easier if those labels are still on there. Or maybe I'll just cover them up with a piece of black tape during Halloween while this is on display. I do believe I've already done something wrong because this one says B at the top and this one says C here, but I can't screw this end to, oh yes I can. Never mind. I thought these were opposites, but this can be screwed in at either end. So my bad. I could have just probably kept it that way, but we'll flip it over just to be sure. Before we attach any more poles, we need to slide this over top. Otherwise we won't be able to once the hand is attached. Now, before we insert the actual light into the top of this, we need to take these two cables that are labeled N and connect those, and then we're gonna push the wire inside before pushing this all the way in. And once we get that inserted, we're gonna line up the two little holes here, and that piece that I found earlier that was just floating around, we're going to secure this in place by pushing this through and then setting the lock pin. And now that is secure. And now we get to screw this in. I've got a little step stool here to make this easier for me, because this thing is big. Uh-oh, my fan's gonna get in the way. There's a ceiling fan up there. So I am gonna have to move this to the floor soon. All right, quick break. We're gonna keep the clock going. I'm gonna move the table out of the way, put this on the floor. I'm having trouble screwing this in because this thing is weighted, so I don't think I lined up the grooves correctly, so it's stuck right now. So I gotta unscrew it and try it again. That's gonna be easier if this is lower for me. All right, so let me start this over. I'm gonna unscrew it and then screw it back in. Now, this thing is a little bit not balanced. So it's heavier on this side because you have a metal piece going through this hand. So it wants to lean. So you really got to be careful that you hold it straight up and down in order to get those grooves to line up properly. There we go. I got it off. Now we can start fresh. And I'll hold that as straight up and down as I can. And that already feels better. So I think we got it. So we can go all the way in. And there we go. Next, into that hand, let me turn this so you can get a better look. Oh, it's pretty heavy. Is we're going to insert this where it says E into this part here that also says E. And this is our control box. Now, I might be able to do this with my finger. I might need that tool. Let's find out. Oh, I did it with my hand. No problem. All right, so this has an F on it. We're going to insert the body. So we didn't even get to the other stuff yet, which is concerning. I feel like this should have already been attached, but apparently not. Now, finding where that is the current challenge. So if I fold this all back, we can see we've got a connection wire, and there is our F. So that's the F. There's a G on this side. We're going to connect the F here, and that is going to go in this direction, like this. Again, I haven't needed that tool just yet, which is a good thing. So far, so good. If you hear barking in a second, this thing is already freaking out my dog, and she's like going super hyper behind the camera. Now we're gonna insert this letter G, into the letter G over here. I'll bring the camera in a second so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, the exact location. This is gonna face downward like this, and insert into the back. So that's what I just did. So there's the F to F, and then there is the G to G. Next up, we have this. So we're gonna connect to that. They just told me to double check that the H to H is secure. That's this pole sticking out here. Let me try to twist this a little bit so you get a better view. So H to H, it just said make sure that's locked in. it was already locked in when it arrived. Now we're going to attach the right hand to the arm module, which is right here. And again, so far we haven't had to use those tools. Maybe when we're unassembling it, we'll need them. Can somebody give me a hand with this? Sorry, I can't help the bad jokes. And there's our hand. It's all coming together. Now we haven't attached the wiring yet. They're telling me to put the cloak down over the arm and attach the arm. But if I do that now, it's going to be hard to gain access to all the wires. So what I'm going to do is just attach these now. These are M and M. And then on the back side here, there's a J and there's another J. And then over here is an L and a K. So I better not do it yet because I don't know why they're different letters and where they go. So let me see if there's anything else I'm missing. There's an L. Okay, here's the L. We're going to go L to L. We're going to go J to J. And this might mess me up by doing this one before putting the cloak on, but I don't know yet. And we got one more. There's a K. Oh, and here's our K right here. I'm going to attach those. Hopefully I didn't just make a mistake, and hopefully I can still put the cloak over after attaching these ahead of time. It tells you to wait and put the cloak on first. So we're going to see what happens. I'm going to give you a close-up look at this. I'll grab the camera. I'm not going to touch this. So there's a close-up look. We've got the L, M to M, J to J, and K to K. And that K is this wire here that's attached to the arm. Now I'm going to try to put the cloak over, and then we're going to attach the arm sleeve. There's a piece of Velcro that's going to go over this arm and onto that hand. Now there's a very large piece of Velcro here on this unit, but I can't figure out which piece of Velcro sticks to that. It could be this one, but they're not clear about that in the directions because there's Velcro all over the place. There's Velcro here, here, there's one right here, a whole bunch of strips, and I'm having trouble figuring out where those are supposed to go. And also which one of these is long enough for the right arm. I imagine it's this one, but I'm going to look at the photos and see if I can get a better understanding. I definitely think that you do not want to attach all these wires ahead of time. That was my mistake. That's going to cost me a lot of extra minutes assembling this, unfortunately, but now you won't make the same mistake if you get one of these. So we're going to attach all these and actually follow the directions instead of trying to skip steps, which is something that I tend to do every time I build an animatronic. Now we're going to find the right sleeve, which I believe is this. All right, I'm very confused because now this right here is the motion sensor. That's the big piece of Velcro that's supposed to go onto this. So how could I possibly get that over to that side? I do not know. I'm glad that we have this video, especially for myself, because I'm going to need this in the future. Okay, there's no Velcro on the back. There is Velcro here and here. This looks like it could go like this. I think that this was assembled wrong, not by me, but by the manufacturer, because this is supposed to be the long right arm, and this is a long sleeve here. So I could make this be a very long sleeve like this. The problem is that this doesn't have the sensor. There's no motion sensor on this side. The motion sensor is on the other side, but the box is on this side. So how are you supposed to get this motion sensor over there? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, that arm does look pretty cool, but I won't be able to use the motion sensor, and I do want to use the motion sensor. So that is frustrating. I'll tell you what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to hit pause. I'm gonna pause this. I promise you I will not touch this until I figure out what to do next, but I don't want to record myself figuring it out. So I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna figure it out and see if this was actually put together wrong in the first place. Okay, I apologize. I said I wouldn't touch anything, but I was convinced that this was put together wrong. I still think it was, and I was about to just, take it back and I don't know. I was very disappointed, but I got desperate. I started like trying to twist the whole costume around, which I ended up doing, and I think it's gonna work like this. I don't know what I've done. I had to pull stuff up through the collar here. I had to flip this around. This Velcro here, I wish that wasn't showing. That should be a little bit more hidden. But I'm gonna plug all the cables together now and turn this on and see if I can get it to work, and we'll see if it looks okay. Somehow I got this sleeve, which was on the other side, back to this side. So what I did is I twisted the whole thing around, and then this was on the back, so I had to flip that over. From the back side, it doesn't look very good. I could get more Velcro strips and try to close that. I'll show you how it looks in the back. So that's currently the back. So this is like wide open, and I don't think it's supposed to be that way, but of course I could close this off. I'm not too worried about that though, because I'm only going to be displaying this from the front. Nobody should ever see the back. So let's start that clock back up, and I'll plug all the cables in, and we'll see how it looks at that point. One final thing, when I twisted it around, the motion sensor, which was here, I was able to get over here. It's right here. So this piece came loose, so I might have to re-glue that down so that you can see it. But this was all the way around on the other side. I don't know why. I didn't do anything. You saw me unpack it. I never twisted anything around. I took it out of the box as was. So let me plug these together. I'll start the clock again. Even though you can add probably 15, 20 minutes. I had to get a full-size ladder because reaching my arms up here, I couldn't even see what I was doing. I got a regular size ladder. I was up there for a while. So a lot of work. Anyway, I still think it looks really cool, even like this, but I don't think this is ideally the way it's supposed to look. Here we go. Now I got to find all those wires. And we connected them before, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find where they go. Except for now I have this whole cloth in the way. All right, so I did get the wires so that you can't really see them. I don't like this little space right there, and I wish this would hang down, but I've kind of run out of that material because everything is twisted. I suppose I could hook this here. That might look a little better. Here, I'll try draping it over there for now. But that covers up our motion sensor. And there's all this material around it. It's not smooth. And now we'll plug it in and see if we can get this thing to do anything.
Come closer. Listen well. Let me guide you through the route you seek. Heed my warning. The restless evil souls are lurking in the shadows beyond this portal. And you shall now return.
It's very loud, that's for sure. I don't know what the setting is right now, because there's the motion. Oh, motion sensor, okay.
Go this way. Get out while you can. You've been warned. And you've reached a dead end.
All right, so we're looking at least 35 minutes, as long as, especially if yours isn't flip-flopped around the whole robe. When reading over the reviews of this, some people mentioned that as it was operating that they had like a clicking noise. I haven't noticed anything like that. Everything that it has done so far has run nice and smooth. The audio is very loud. I'm impressed with that. And there are 3 different ways you can use this. You can use the motion sensor. You could have a sound activation turned on, or you can buy separately one of those pads where if someone steps on it, it turns on. Generally, if it'll work with those pads, it'll also work with the remote control. So most of our animatronics we have set up with the little remote control box. That way we can be watching, and when someone approaches each animatronic, we can just hit a button to activate it that way. Now let's talk stability. So I have this just sitting on the floor. It's not spiked into the ground, and it is very stable. Like even just like this, I don't think this thing's going anywhere. And because it's so small, like this component, I don't see wind being a major factor. That being said, when I do put this outside, I will use the spikes and put them into the ground just to make sure it has extra stability. If you're using the power cable and you don't want it to be just sticking out like this, it does have along the pole little Velcro tabs, which you can use to secure it firmly into place. They also include this unit here so that any of the wires that are like just going everywhere in behind the robe, you can secure those into place by putting this around one of the metal brackets, and then the wires would run right through this hole here, and that just clicks into place and it'll hold your wires nice and neat. The control box is where you plug in the DC power, and that screws into place so it doesn't accidentally get pulled out. You can also set this to human only mode, which uses the center and or noise. You can control the volume from the back. The demo jack is where you would put a foot pad or a remote control, and the speaker jack is if you want to attach an external speaker so you can have this thing be super loud. While in demo mode, this will not activate, but the lantern light will stay on. It's on right now. As long as you have power going to the unit, whether it's on or off, the lantern will remain on. When I turn on the lights tonight, you'll actually be able to see that. Now let's talk pros versus cons. The first one, does it look as good in person as it does in the pictures online? My answer would be yes. I think this thing looks incredible. It's super tall. I'm 6'2" and I can't even barely reach the bottom of the lantern. It's very big, it's very intimidating and scary. How difficult is it to assemble? Well, for me, it was extremely difficult. Putting everything together was actually easy, but because my cloak was all misassembled or misconstrued, that made it a hassle for me. Fortunately, I was able to find a way to make it work. And when I actually use this for Halloween, I will maybe get some more of this type of cloth and add some details and make it look a little bit more like it's supposed to look. Can one person build this? I built it myself and it was pretty easy until I had to break out the big step ladder so I could reach the top to twist the entire cloak. Is the animation smooth? I would say yes. My experience so far with this has been when it animates, it's very smooth, it looks cool, and I love the movement. Is the audio clear? And I would say yes. And I'm very surprised at how loud it gets without having an external speaker. How reliable is the sensor? Well, I don't know because my sensor is covered with a bunch of material. Because everything, I had to twist everything in an unnatural way. But as you saw when we test this out, if I get close to it or just tap it, it does go off. However, that being said, I'm going to be using either a foot pad or a remote control. How sturdy is it? It's impressively sturdy. I mean, these metal poles are really strong. This isn't pinned to the ground. And look, it is not going anywhere. This thing is very sturdy, very well built. Would I buy it again? I would say absolutely. And hopefully if I bought it again, the cloak would come in the right configuration. Overall, I think this thing looks awesome. The neighborhood that I live in, we actually have these kind of lamp lights all around the neighborhood. So this is going to fit in perfectly. If you're looking for one of these, I think it's definitely a buy and I highly recommend it. If you'd like to grab one of these, like I said, there's a link in the description below, but I have found that the moment these get in stock at Lowe's, they sell out in about a day and they're gone. If you click on the link today, as I'm making this video, it currently says no longer available at Lowe's, but I do believe that they're gonna have them in stock, especially in store as we get closer towards Halloween. Now that I've had my fun, I'm gonna try to put this whole thing back in the box and take it out again in just a couple of months to get ready for Halloween. I ended up loving the way it looks, even though I had a hard time figuring out the cloak. I do think it still looks pretty awesome. Let's break it down. I'll speed this process up so you don't have to watch the whole thing, but I'm gonna see if I can get everything in that box. I'm gonna use all the boxes just for padding, just to shove everything in there and see if it works. And there we go. I was pretty easily able to fit everything back inside of the box. And I believe I can close this up pretty well for storage. So that makes me very happy. So what do you think? Is this one of the coolest animatronics of 2026? Let me know in the comments. If you own one of these already, please let me know in the comments if you've had the same type of experience with the cloak that I had. Also, don't forget to click like on this video and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.